Hi everyone. A few months ago, I made a playthrough of the Adventure Time game Flambo's Hot Mess. In that video, I mentioned that the game is a sprite swap of a game called Firebug. The Firebug games are not very well known from what I've gathered. A lot of players have thought of Flambo's Hot Mess as its own original thing, and have been surprised to find out that it's a repackaging of another game. Personally, I had never heard of Firebug until I stumbled upon an out-of-place text box as I was reviewing the recordings of that Flambo video. I think that it's worthwhile to return to this subject. I've decided to show what a Firebug game looks like, and demonstrate how they differ slightly from the Flambo variant. This is the second game in the Firebug series. The level design is different from that of Flambo's, but the mechanics are quite the same. As you may see in the top of the window, the Firebug games have a scoring system and a timer on each level. The developers cut those features from Flambo's Hot Mess for whatever reason. Now, Firebug won't die if the timer runs down to 0. He just won't get bonus points on the level clear screen. So this does appear to play very similarly to the first Firebug game and to Flambo. The platform sprites are the same across all three, and they even use the same music. It's not much of a rebuild, it's mostly more of the same. It seems that the Podge wanted to squeeze even more value out of the assets that they had made, but they weren't compelled to make anything too inventive or too risky. There are a few new assets, like, what is this? These sentient water sacks that put out the fires. I should have gone for the Switch first. It's something. The new additions are just barely enough to keep the game interesting and worth playing. I'm going to go to the shop now. This is another aspect that they cut from Flambo's for the sake of simplicity. When I collect every jelly bean in a level, I receive a special yellow bean. I can spend these beans at the shop to get cosmetic items like skins and hats. They have no effect on gameplay. I'm only going to try out a few combinations. Most of these hats and skins are ugly and unappealing anyway. I've already played through this game more than 3 times, and I still don't have enough beans to buy everything. It's pretty stupid how much the developers are milking this game for replay value that just isn't there. If you're going to include this many unlockables, there should be more than 33 levels. I don't want to play the same game over and over. I thought at first that this game did include unlockable levels, but I was mistaken. In the shop, there's a banner that reads, Buy Worlds. This is the volcano world, and there's also a space world and such. In games, world is usually synonymous with level pack. When you beat World 1 of a Mario game, you move on to World 2. You get a whole new sequence of levels, which may happen to follow a different theme from that of World 1. But what I'm playing isn't a new world in the conventional sense. This game only has 33 levels. The placement of blocks is exactly the same, whether I set the world to volcano or space or whatever. Buy backgrounds would be a more honest description. So the Podge was intentionally dishonest and cheap in this area. It would have been easy enough to create new levels for each of the unlockable worlds. Alright, this is the most difficult level in my experience. I'll try to get through quickly while also avoiding unnecessary contact with flammable surfaces. Don't kill me, please. Alright. I will say that this game is more puzzle-oriented than the first one, and generally has better level design. In the other game, you don't need to think too much to get through most levels. It's sufficient to burn everything and move to the end as quickly as possible. That strategy works on a good number of levels here, too. But some levels really require that I act more cautiously and intentionally leave some blocks unburned for the level's whole duration. And for some blocks, like those on the right, it's not enough to avoid jumping near them. I have to carefully time the evacuation of that water sack. Still, the solutions in this game are quite simple as far as puzzle games go. None of them should require more than a minute of contemplation. The main focus of the game is still fast-paced platforming. The beans change color whenever I reset a level. That's an interesting detail. This level may take a little bit of trial and error. There are a lot of switches, and you won't be able to get through if you go burning all of them. I don't get what this level is going for. It seems that I'm supposed to save the bottom platform and the fan that I already burned, so that I can use them to get up to the rocket. That may be the intention, but there's no need for me to save the fan. I can easily burn the top platform from the right side and access the purple switch. Not the best made level, that one. I like this. The timer doesn't start until I begin to move. I have some time to think at the beginning. Oh no, I locked away the beans. Welp, that's reason enough to kill myself. Start over fresh. So that's Firebug 2. A very okay, very unremarkable sequel. It reuses too much content from the first game. It adds a few new mechanics that make the game more complex, but it's still quite simple and uninspiring. I think that it's better than the first game overall, but it doesn't do enough new stuff to make me feel that it's a necessary sequel. Firebug 2 could have been much more than what it is. It doesn't feel like the product of passionate developers who wanted to expand the scope of their previous game's world. It feels like a cheap and lazy rehash of that game. Thanks for watching.